Alrighty then, I glued it back together with that trim adhesive, wrapped this big tie strap around it, hold it in place, plugged everything in. I'm getting ready to plug in the adapter that they provide in the kit. So that'll go in there, and we'll route it into the pump here. And I came across these old instructions as I was digging through my chemicals for electric fuel pump, in-tank pump from probably an old Chevy Vega. First ones I know of, 71, the 1971 Chevy Vega. Probably, I hate to admit it, but that's probably the last time I replaced one of these in-tank pumps was back then working on those old Vegas. Okay, so we plug this in. Now I may have mentioned before in my transmission video, don't do this at home, even though I do it. But that emblem glue is not holding so well. So I pressed some smaller tie straps into service here. And they're oil and gas resistant, so I trust that they will remain. Just to hold the lid on this thing. But it's a good thing we made a trap door in case we have to get back in here. It won't be so tough. Alright. There's the assembly. Feed it back in so that the inlet goes back in this section up toward the rear. I don't know exactly how that's done, but I guess we keep working on trying to find out. It feels like the filter is hitting up against there's a ledge in there. They didn't tell me about this part, the fumbling around part. We'll just keep fumbling with it. Okay, I'm really having to fumble with this quite a lot. Trying to get this down in here, had to get everything down over a ledge in there. Get everything lined up and get these tubes lined up. Now I have to try to get these tubes hooked back up to the lines here. And I heard it wasn't that easy. I'm sure it isn't. We have to get these things hooked back up. Okay, I started with the worst ones first, so get a couple of screws started here. But I did the worst line first, then I did this one and plugged them in. And so it should be ready to go. I'm going to try a test. Okay, now let's try this power port over here for the fuel pump. A little gray wire sticks out right here. Oh, definitely heard something. Sound like fuel going right up into the injectors. I didn't know there was enough fuel in this tank left in this tank for this thing to even start. Okay, I'm drilling the holes for this plate that I cut to cover this hole, 8 by 13.5 inches. I cut this hole over, ½ inch over and ½ inch up to give more room. Some of the postings said it was tight and it gave me just enough room to work on these lines up here. So, I'm getting all these holes drilled and getting ready for installation. However, after I started, I noticed something. The fuel gauge was reading all the way full, and that sucked. Something was wrong. Float was hung up down there, so I undid it, jiggled it, fixed it, and bolted her back down. I noticed when I just started up again, it's back up there again. So that really upsets me. If I was a dealership, I'd be really upset. I'd be eating up my $700 job. A couple of postings said that that's about what it costs when you go to a dealership when they drop the tank to do this job. Well, the good news is it runs. Fuel pump's quiet. Took it out and drove it around to see if that damn needle would go back to empty. And no, it wouldn't. So I'm going to take a look, but guess what? Goddamn fucking screw won't come out of the hole. How ridiculous is that? Alright, this time I've left the key on. So I'm going to move this around and see if that goddamn needle moves on my dash. It's not going. It's not doing anything. Why in the hell is that? So I've had to go and take all this apart so I can get down there and find out where that black wire plugs on. And wouldn't you know it, this last goddamn tube fitting here, this plastic piece of shit that they use here, it will not, I don't know why it won't let loose. Mangled the hell out of it, but I got it off there. Gotta make this goddamn thing so it'll stay on there. It just falls right off the fitting, for God's sakes. Takes nothing for it to pull it right off of there. Again, I find myself fighting like hell to get this thing back down in there into its slot. God, is it there? Is it there? Hope that it's in there now, right? I gotta get this thing out, goddamn. Oh no. Goddamn needle's back up again. When I get it in place, something pushes it right off every time. Here we go again. I swear to God. Working on cars. These are the times that try men's souls. Alright, with much trouble, I've got this thing back together again. And the fuel gauge is working properly. Do you see any leaks? Good. I don't see any, so I'm going to button this up. Alright, it's back together. Fuel gauge is working properly, so it's time to button this thing up. I put this old GM sealer on here, half hard, which is perfect for this job. In fact, I had to cut into the side of the tube to get it on. It's not pretty. I put a little trans gel around the edge here so it won't stick on this side. We're going to go ahead and button this thing up. I got a bunch of screws here that I dug out from my U-Pull adventures. I keep all these. I never lack for the proper nut and bolt for a job because I've been collecting these things for years. So we'll go ahead and screw this down, put the interior back together. Oh, my hands are hurting. My hands are all scraped up, but they're just plain hurting. It's simply because of age. It's just proof that I'm just too old to be doing this shit. Maybe that's a good place to end this here vid. Yeah.